I started my minimalist journey here around 4 years ago. Initially, I decided to declutter all my worldly possessions to a rather extreme amount. I realise now I was searching for respite from overstimulation and a chaotic, stressful society. In the beginning, I thought this journey was one of goals and objectives, my prior goal being to travel full time, then find sanctuary in a serene cabin in the woods. Only something quite peculiar happened. In getting rid of all my stuff, I discovered that with less stuff, I had more time, no rush, life felt easier, and my everyday life had become the original respite I had been looking for under all my clutter all along. With this new discovery of peace in simple living, the goal of full-time travel became less of a hurried aim. And whilst I still believe adventure is good for the soul, I now trust it doesn't have to be all or nothing. That now felt like a maxim of a capitalist, materialist world. Through minimalism, I'd learnt to let go of toxic sentiments such as these. I reflected on what I had brought to fruition over a slow-paced 4 years. I'd spent over 3 months travelling and been to 8 new countries. It hadn't been in a dramatic, full-time extravaganza that I'd originally hoped, but I'd experienced, but I'd definitely not done it and bought the t-shirt. Somewhere on my longer metaphorical minimalist journey over the past 4 years, I'd also got rid of the part of me that thought everything needed to be done yesterday. So now I continue with you all on my minimalist and simple living journey here on my corner of the internet. Only now, which is really all we have, I don't hold on to or long for materialist maxims such as urgency. I allow myself the pleasure of joy in the everyday, and I keep my dreams. But the minimalist in me now thinks softly to myself, all in good time. I'm Lydia. This is my story. Now let's not begin. Let's carry on. So I thought this introduction today was the best way to move forward. You might have noticed in quite a lot of videos recently, I've been doing these sort of 1 minute to 2 minute introductions because I feel like they're a good way of kind of pre-explaining a little bit what I actually want to mainly talk about in that video. So that is what I'm going to stick with for a while, but they might be a bit different and they might be saying different things even though some of the images are the same. Because living in England, we only have the summer to get those kind of shots. We're limited for being able to get pretty B-roll in summery shots. But now that I've said what I wanted to say at the beginning of this video, I'm going to move on to say a little bit more frankly what I've been wanting to say, and perhaps what some people didn't get in this video last week. I know a lot of you did. You got the cryptic messages that were involved, but for those people that didn't get it, that's going to be the subject of today's video. I'm going to say the word start in this title tentatively, as in the start of our travels, because I think what I did suggest in last week's video is that I consider that I've already started. I started a while back. After we started living this minimalist, simple lifestyle, we discovered that we wanted to live in the now. We didn't want to wait for this date that was miles off, and we wanted to start travelling in bits here and there. And I obviously also meant metaphorically that I've been travelling all along on this journey of life, this journey of minimalism, the bigger journey. Apparently everybody didn't get that memo. So what I have learned on this journey over the past 4 years is something that I think many people do know, but I've really learned it. And that is to never say ever again that you are doing something before you do it, or at least not miles in advance, because especially if you run a YouTube channel, I think it's nice to tell your audience what you are doing when you are definitively, or you believe definitively, going to be doing it, because then they know what to expect. Because otherwise there are all kinds of outside pressures on you, and it seems that some people are very sort of unforgiving of rational reasons, i.e. rationales, about things that might have cropped up and made life a little bit difficult for you, so that your plans didn't quite go to plan and things are taking you a little bit longer than what you originally thought. Although I will say that when I started my channel and I said that I was decluttering all this stuff to go travelling, I really did just want to declutter because I felt sort of overwhelmed and overstimulated with sort of the stresses of life. I wanted to be able to feel more at ease, and that is definitely something that has come about with minimalism. But I never set a timeline or a time frame for when we were going to be going away. And admittedly, we have had a few setbacks, a few personal private setbacks, which I owe nobody to have to explain on the internet. So I haven't. It seems that some people don't think outside the box, that there might be other issues going on that has made it not possible for us to travel yet. And a couple of them I did explain. For instance, I explained that my partner was having difficulties with his contract, so he needed a bit longer. I explained that my grandma had passed away, and there were loads of knock-on effects because of that. Because my mum, for instance, was obviously not dealing with the passing of her own mother very well, and I didn't want to abandon her in her hour of need. And so I have spent the last year really spending time with my mum, making sure that she is okay. It appears that some people don't care what your rationale or reason is for, not sticking to these goals that you originally set for yourself, even though it's your own goal. Long story short, I couldn't just simply go off for some personal goal that I'd set and live with myself by abandoning my mum. And then I think many of you are up to date with this bit of information, but in December, right as we were gonna go off on our travels, we found Zala, as in found her wandering in the street. It wasn't even an option. We didn't think, let's go rescue a dog at a rescue centre. We physically found her in the street and just fell in love with her. As a result of all this, our life has changed. It has changed since what happened 4 years ago when I set out this minimalist journey on YouTube. Factors have come in and out. Therefore, I don't want to change what I'm now calling my dreams, but I can adapt them. So because our life has changed and there is just no simpler way to put it, we obviously decided that we can't go off anymore flying around the world, or at least not yet. But we can obviously do van life travel with a dog, where Zala gets to come with us. And all this whilst hunting for our forever home, which is hopefully going to be a cabin in the woods. And we actually even thought it might be a better way to be able to cabin hunt for our off-grid cabin, because we'll actually have a vehicle to go around and explore more in more detail, maybe even at a slower pace that's more affordable. But all of this is going to take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. There is no rush to have it all done yesterday. So this time, and I don't think I did the first time, I am not setting a deadline. I'm not on anyone else's clock but my own, and I won't bow down to pressure. Because after all, that is what minimalism has been about for me, having freedom in time, having my own time to myself. Otherwise, we're just doing the same thing as before minimalism. Also, I have been looking for a van for around 3 months since we literally found Zala, 3 or 4 months now, and it's proving quite difficult where we live. I'm not going to rush these things. I'm going to get the right one. However, this video did say the start of our travels, because I believe in terms of the official start of our new dream that I'm about to explain, I think it is. Although, technically, for anybody keeping score, I think most people would agree that we have actually travelled quite a lot over 4 years. You know, we've travelled for over 3 months in total, as I said in the introduction. We've been to 8 new countries. So that's quite a bit. We just haven't done it all in one go, i.e. full-time style. And that has been evidenced over on my travel channel and all the vlogs over there. Whilst I'm talking about that, over on my travel channel, I mentioned a couple of videos ago that I'd actually discovered I had this new dream, which I felt was quite fitting for the moment, because I think people underestimate how many countries there actually are in Europe, and people always just think of, i.e. Italy, France, Spain, Germany, and all like the perhaps more westerly ones, and don't think about all the other ones and all the other small ones and all the landlocked ones. There are 44 countries in Europe. I just thought how nice it would be to explore some of the more off the beaten track countries. The new dream we actually have is to set off in our van when it's good and ready and explore every country in Europe. And rather than it being a goal-orientated, achievement-based desire, like been there, done it, I can tick that off, it's going to be a slow, mindful experience and endeavour. And what's great about this is it also enables us in this current climate, I'm sure you all know what I mean, where things are a little bit sort of unknown. It enables us to not be so far away from home that we can't get home on our own accord, i.e. we're in a vehicle, and not stuck in a foreign country, not being able to fly home. So there's like a safety element of as well with everything that's going on. And it also enables my mum to have time to settle into her new home in France, as it does have a lot of renovations needing doing. We might even go help her with that at some point, and prepare the garden for the dogs to go stay with while my mum minds her in a safe environment, so that we can eventually go further afield. So I think that this would be a great mindful and frugal and affordable way to start our official travel journey. But to achieve all the goals that we want to achieve, which is to travel to a lot of places, not just Europe eventually, and to buy our cabin in the woods, we are going to have to do it very, very, very frugally. Extremely frugal. And when we got to thinking about the route all around Europe, we discovered that there's actually one country that is going to be really, really sort of out of the route to get to, that would really kind of slow things down and make it a bit awkward, especially with Zala. So we've decided to go there first. That is going to be our first port of call, and we're going to do it soon, within the next couple of weeks, before my mum leaves for France. And if you can just hear some noise off camera, that is Zala eating her breakfast. So my mum has agreed to look after Zala in our apartment, so Zala feels safe the first time that, you know, we ever leave her. She will be 6 months old at the point that we leave her, and she is very, very bonded with my mum, because at the end of the day, my mum is the one that actually rescued her in the street. So she spent lots of time with my mum. She loves the fact that my mum's also got a dog that's kind of like her auntie, we joke. So we really think if we want to do this leg of the journey, the first leg, this is the time. So we are going to Malta for our first leg of our journey, the start of our official long-term travels. And because we're not going to get any luxury for quite a while, it's going to be very modest in the van. We thought we'd also start in style and in a little bit of luxury to begin with. So whilst I'm not going to make a ton of videos in advance, I am going to make a few to cover this time that we're away. It also means that for now, Sunday videos are going to have a pause, because I'll be making a lot of videos, quite adventurous videos, for the travel channel, and whilst also still having a weekly upload on this channel. If you want to keep more up to date with us, you might want to follow along on my Instagram, but there will still be a weekly upload on a Wednesday on this channel. I am obviously also, some of you may have noticed, playing around with this schedule on a Wednesday, because it's quite it's quite interesting that I have a large American audience, so I made the videos later, but I also do have quite a lot of European audience, so I have lowered it at the moment to 9 p.m. on a Wednesday, and we'll try that for a little while and maybe even go earlier. So I have a lot of what I would consider great videos for you all planned, because quite a few big things are happening, especially in the home. We have obviously changed a few things around in the kitchen, so there is the kitchen tour coming up. But recently, I also decided that because Zala is 6 months, she's more or less trained now, she's stopped chewing things, we don't have to have the bedside drawers anymore. And we don't really have to store stuff in the bed anymore. So she's drinking her water. If you can all hear that off camera. There are some big changes coming up in the bedroom. And here is a little sneak peek, but I will be doing a full video talking about all my decisions of why I decided to change it like this. And obviously, as a lover of Japanese furniture, Japan is definitely not off the cards for me. I just have to wait until my mum is ready to mind her, and we obviously want to build up with Zala to being left for a shorter period of time, a bit longer, because when we go to Japan, we want it to be quite a while so that we can fully explore everywhere. Northern, colder places, the warmer, lower islands. It's just going to take a bit of time. This is my video to remind everybody to not let outside pressure get to you. And just remember to simply and softly say to yourself, all in good time.